It is Monday evening. Hope everyone is well. Buckeye Scoop family, Buckeye Nation. What's good? Got one more home game, and then it's the game. Y'all know what it is. Do me a favor, hit that like button, that little thumbs up. Hit that. Let's get that out the way. Also, please, if you have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Hit it twice. Make sure it went through. Again, we're inching closer towards our goal of 37K. Every subscription gets us closer, and we see it ticking up, ticking up, ticking up. Again, you could be the one to get us over the hump for that goal, and we would greatly appreciate it. Also, shout out to Buckeye Scooper, Dusty Hieronymus. Did I say your name right? He sent me this link, y'all. Y'all know we've been talking about the Bruce Leroy glow. He sent me the link to the TikTok shop to buy this shirt. This is from the movie. That's Bruce Leroy, of course, over here. And then that's the villain, Show Enough. And I was a little nervous because it was a TikTok shop link. I've never ordered anything on TikTok, but I got my shirt and it's dope. And so shout out to Dusty for that. Appreciate you. Also, remember, well, first of all, let me touch on the topic. We're going to be talking about Michigan threatening to leave the Big Ten. We're going to talk about that. All right. And then also remember those wonderful super chats y'all are so goated with help to go towards the Pay It Forward, which is our military and our first responders. We're going to look out for them because they always look out for us. Nevada, what's up, good sir?
Man, just lots happening. You think there's going to be like a quiet day, and then just
Right.
craziness. We got recruits coming out. We got availability reports, and then we got Michigan leaving the Big Ten all on the same day. It's like what a glorious day it is, and yeah, it's no, it's definitely wild. Our message board. If you're not on a message board, if you've never been on a message board, I am telling you, and B, you can attest to this. That message board was popping today. Like
Yes.
every time you hit refresh, there's like new comments, new topics, new things. And I know we're right in the heart of season, but it's busy even for us. But if you've never been a member of a message board, consider it. If you like this podcast, consider joining at buckeyescoop.com. But the message board was popping today. And this was a big topic of conversation. Will Michigan leave the Big Ten? So B, what do you think, B? Are they leaving the Big Ten? Or are you gonna take away, or you lose all your Michigan Big Ten gear that you have right now and kind of erase them from it, or what are you thinking?
I'm gonna go with hollow threat. I mean because listen, this is the same fan base who was talking about they're gonna lead the Big Ten when Tony Petitti dropped that scathing letter letting them know how ridiculous they were for cheating. And I remember there was threads upon threads on MGO and their other sites talking about we're gonna leave the Big Ten and blah all this other stuff. And so listen, with this, as I kind of dug more into it and kind of looked into the details, it seems to me things aren't being represented clearly through some of these articles. And so, Nevada, like I want to kick it back to you. So maybe explain to the people kind of the gist of the whole contention between Michigan and why they're talking about they're going to leave the Big Ten if such and such happens.
Okay, basically what we're dealing with is they're talking about a private equity investment into the Big Ten. And when people think private equity, it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But in this thing, it's basically it's a group that's affiliated with the University of California. It's a nonprofit group called UC Investments. And what they'd be doing is they'd be investing in the future revenue streams of the business. And they would be asking for the affected schools to extend the grant of rights, which means put their media rights into the deal until 2046. Now, where I think people are getting confused is they think that means we're extending the Fox deal until 2046. That's not the case. So that's the first big misunderstanding of, well, why are we extending the Fox? We're not extending the Fox deal. So we're extending the grant of rights grant to this entity, this new entity that the private equity firm would own 10%, the Big Ten would own 90%. But the Fox deal is completely separate on a completely separate timeline. That's misunderstanding number one. Two is under this new deal, the bigger brands get a bigger slice of the pie. And so what that means is right now, when a dollar comes in, it's split evenly between Rutgers and Purdue and Maryland and Oregon and Ohio State. Everybody gets the same thing, and that's kind of been the way it's been, kind of that one for all, like, all for one type of thing since day one. Well, this changes that up, and if your brand's bigger, if you've got a bigger reach, you get a bigger slice of the pie, and so that's why schools like Ohio State are interested in this, because they're saying, we shouldn't be getting the same deal that Rutgers get, because we're the 2,500-pound gorilla and they're not. And so
Right.
that's why Ohio State's supporting it. Now, USC and Michigan are both substantial brands, but they're not Ohio State. And so they're putting up a lot of reasons why those are the two schools that don't like it the most, but it's primarily because Ohio State's getting a bigger slice of the pie than they would be getting in terms of going forward. And so they're making noise to their family. The USC athletic director sent out a letter to all the USC boosters and everything. Michigan has been privately talking with their board of directors, and what they're talking about is not a move to another conference, but a move to an independent stat. They would move to become independent, much like Notre Dame. And the advantage of being independent, for Notre Dame, obviously, is they get to pick their own schedule. So, Notre Dame right now can pick who they play, when they play them, how they play. They did. And for me, that's a huge advantage, for being an independent. And
Yeah.
so I think they're looking at that and going, hey, for schools like USC and Michigan, that have kind of fallen behind Ohio State in terms of this kind of arms race that is Big Ten football and the college football playoff. They're wondering if an independent schedule where they get to pick and choose and schedule their own games might be more advantageous to them. So I'm with you in terms of, I think it's it's much ado about nothing, but they're making pretty serious noise about it. And the Big Ten's kind of playing hardball with them right now. The Big Ten is saying, hey, look, we're going to vote on this. And we're going to give you a little bit of time to opt in, but if you don't, then that's it. You're outside. You're either inside the tent or you're outside the tent. So this thing's going to be coming to a head in a relatively short period of time. And I think that the way that it's working right now, yeah, it looks like it's certainly going to pass muster with the Big Ten, with the majority of the schools in the Big Ten. But I think USC and Michigan are the lone holdouts right now. And again, the essence of that, holdoutness is they don't like the fact that Ohio State's going to be getting more money than they will under this new agreement. And that's kind of in a summary form, as simply as possible as I can put it. That's kind of the issues that are being framed. I'm not sure that's come across clearly in any of the articles that have been written, but I wanted to make sure everybody understood exactly what's on the table right now.
Very clearly stated. And I'll just respond with, hey, Michigan, look at me. Look at me. I'm the cash cow. That's Ohio State talking to Michigan. We're the cash cow. It's just funny because Michigan fans try to make it seem like they're the premier brand. Yes, they're one of them. Yes, Ohio State, Michigan. But you're not Ohio State, buddy. Stop it. And this is just confirming it more and more. And so I got this pulled up, Nevada, from Intrinsic's Twitter. And there's a poll on the Bayless board where it says there's three options. It says, are you in favor of Michigan leaving the Big Ten Conference? So 12.3% says no, Michigan needs to do whatever it must do in order to stay in the conference. The next one, 71%. Yes, I'm more than ready to cut ties and move on, given how they've treated us. And then the last one, 15%, leave for football, basketball only if possible. So, yeah, the Michigan fans. And then he shows, Intrinsic shows another screenshot of them talking about how Petiti supposedly treated them, when they were busted for cheating and everything first came out. And they were whining back then about, oh, we're going to leave the Big Ten. It's their fans, I know are eating this up. And then the other thing I was talking about with Intrinsic is is like, you're right, with the independent, they can schedule all the cupcakes they want. You remember the 2023 season, where they had Colorado State and New Mexico and somebody else and no really big, they can just do that and just frolic in cupcake world all they want. And I mean, listen, I know they're talking serious, Nevada, but I just don't take it serious. I can't see them leaving the Big Ten.
Well, I mean, I want to be clear on my position on this. Nothing would make me happier than Michigan leaving the Big Ten. Nothing. I mean, seriously, I'm not sure if a national championship would make me as happy as Michigan leaving the Big Ten. I'm being serious. I would trade a national title. I would trade not all of our national title, but I would trade a national title if it meant that Michigan got sent to the island of misfit toys forever and ever, and they can go out there and do their little thing and do the thing. Because I just think that they're so irrelevant right now. They're the only the only program in NCAA that has a coach operating under a show cause right now. Sharon Moore in the midst of another scandal right now that's soon to break with his extracurricular activities, but we'll leave that one for another day.
Yeah.
But if you need a good massage, Sharon's the guy to go to. He knows where to go for those good massages, the special ones. And yeah, no, it's really they're just such I think they stand for everything that's wrong about college football, and their fan base is so delusional. Like I said, I would love them to leave. So if this were to happen, this would be party time. This would be party hats out, the little party poppers. We'd have the whole thing kind of going out there and doing it because I I wish they would. Unfortunately, I'm with you. I don't think they will,
Yeah.
but I really, I just love that a third party's kind of come in and looked at it and said, hey, you guys are a decent brand, but you're not Ohio State. And
Yes.
like that's got to sting for them. But is it like was that really controversial? You know what I'm saying? Was that really controversial
amongst their fans, not anyone else? I don't think.
I was gonna say.
I mean, their
like
fans really thought they were the cash cow of the conference. Like, you're yes, you have a lot of money. You're a big brand, but dog, you're not Ohio State. The metrics, the analytics, like Nevada. I know for years you've done the what would you call it? The Now Post or what's in Now Post?
Nike now.
Or
Yep,
Nike Now.
Yep.
And so, like, come on, like Ohio State, and this is why the SEC, these other schools, they hate us because they know we're the northern power that has the ability to consistently give them issues. That's just the truth. So listen, here's the bottom line. Here's the thumbnail. This is how we feel about this. Bye, Felicia. Bye. Have a good we don't care about that. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all just we just tired of y'all. Y'all had to cheat to get off the schneid to finally beat your rival. Like you said, for those who when they hit you with well, you're the Michigan State and Ohio State's the only one that has vacated wins. Hit him with the Sharon Moore. He's the only coach that's coaching with a show cause, and of course all the other stuff piled on top of that. So anyway,
well, all those players from those teams, I mean, just like they're not living up to expectations in the NFL. It's kind of weird with when you don't know what the plays are. It's amazing how your play kind of drops off there, up from Michigan land. But yeah, no, I think that for Michigan, they're kind of caught in this conundrum right now where they they want to be relevant, they want to be a superpower, but their rival, namely Ohio State, is the super. We're the only real national brand going right now in college football. I mean, we're kind of what Notre Dame used to be like back in the 50s and 60s when Notre Dame was really like it. Because Notre Dame for back in the day was cooking. Like they were cooking. And they were like they kind of transcended anything. They weren't in the conference. It was Notre Dame, so it wasn't like state centric. It was this Notre Dame, and they were everywhere. That's kind of what Ohio State is right now. Like every time you turn on an NFL game, every player on there's from Ohio State, and it's like Ohio State's like the national brand, and in the national conference. I don't think you can ever truly be a national brand being down in the Southeast Conference, the SEC, because that's just it's so regional. But the Big Ten goes from Washington to New Jersey, and it's in all three time zones, yeah, across the country. big flagship institutions, and Ohio State is the big dog of the big dog. So, for them, they're really, I think they see themselves falling further and further behind. You've got these latest recruiting stuff kind of going where Ohio State's just continuing just to cook and just
Yep.
lay guys in, no matter how much Ellison money that they have, and no matter whatever else they got, we're just continuing to cook and flip guys every other day. It seems like another 4-star flip, another 5-star flip. Just Rivals came out with their rankings today. Ohio State had
Yes.
three of the top 15 players in the country.
Yep. All
I
five
mean,
stars.
all 5-star. I mean, it's just crazy what's going on with Ohio State right now, and how things are going. But for Michigan, that's just bad news. And and on top of that, they've latched their star to Sharon Moore. Sharon Moore is the guy that's supposed to lead them out of the wilderness. And like for Ohio State, when we kind of went into the wilderness for that one season when Jim Tressel was gone, and we had a thing, who was did we go turn to kind of lead us out of there? Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
Okay, they've got Sharon Moore. Like, could the differences be any more stark than
Not at
that?
all, sir.
Not at all. So it's like, I mean, I love the way things are going. I love the way things are turning, and I just hope that Michigan overplays their hand on this one and
Yeah.
actually tries to leave the conference, because that would just be so glorious, and nothing would make me happier than to see something like that happen. I'm not sure I'm going to get that lucky. I would certainly be happy if that went down.
Probably not. And just for those asking, the three recruits, Jay Timmons, the corner we just flipped from Florida State, is one of the 5 stars. Chris Henry Jr., one of the 5 stars, and then Kari Wilder, who we just talked about yesterday, who's a dog, is another 5-star. So yeah, I mean things are bright and lovely for the Ohio State future. And yes, another outside non-biased entity has confirmed that we the top dogs. All right. And so it's something we already knew. But anyway, you mentioned JJ McCarthy. Listen, I don't know if y'all been on social media. I've been thoroughly enjoying the JJ mid-Carthy content. There's a lot of fans, a lot of NFL fans making fun of him, Nevada. Videos of him just throwing terrible passes and laughing at the Vikings for drafting him. I mean, and then, like I said, your boy Colin Cowherd talked about the Michigan players not cutting it in the league. I mean, people are starting to see, and they're making jokes about the cheating. I mean, I love it. I love it, Nevada.
Yeah, no, I mean, I did look. I loved the fact that the narrative had kind of changed on Michigan. That Michigan is forever tied to this cheating scandal, and that's really kind of, like, that's the first thing that you think about when you think about Michigan right now is the cheating scandal, and that's just gotta bug those guys, because
It
how
does.
prideful those fans are, and they were so proud of that national championship, and then we just kind of came up and just dookied all over that national championship by doing our own national championship and just kind of throwing theirs off the bus. And I mean, it's crazy how the worm has turned, and how things, what a huge reversal of fortune. And now, I'm sitting here and I'm watching all these other schools going through these coaching regime changes right now. We've talked about all the schools that are hunting for new coaches, and it's hard to find. Has anybody hit a home run? Has anybody hit the proverbial moonshot with a coach yet, in your opinion?
I mean, Franklin is going to Virginia Tech. That's probably a
Yes.
moonshot for them.
I know, but I mean, like, when James Franklin is your moonshot, I mean, like, I tell you who that's a
Yeah.
moonshot for, is for Penn State, because that gets him
Yeah.
off that contract for $56 million, because he's got to mitigate. You know what I'm saying? So the people that are partying right now are the administrators at Penn State. They're like, it's kind of like when if you're married and your ex-wife leaves and you're on paying alimony, and then she gets married
Right.
again and she's off there. You're like, let's go. That's how it
Right.
is with
Right.
James Franklin. Like, he got a new job, and Penn State's like the happiest guy, or whatever. But if he's the moonshot, what are all these schools going to do? And the only reason I bring that up is because that's kind of almost what we faced with Ohio State last year after the Michigan game.
Yeah.
Like, do you go on to the thing? Do you start looking for a coach? Do you try to? I mean, it's not as easy. Be careful what you wish for, because sometimes you can kind of get in this thing where you have to set. I mean, look at Michigan. Michigan's got Sharon Moore, and that's who their star is latched to right now, Sharon Moore. So and I know they're going to have to go through a regime change there. It's not a question of if, just a question of when.
Right.
And will they fire him? And then what does that do to recruiting? And you just got to start over. And starting over in college football, it's hard. So yeah, I don't envy any of these teams, and I do. I'm just so grateful to be an Ohio State Buckeye fan because we've got stability. We've got stability. We've got the benefit of having a staff that's experienced. We've got a lot of different potential paths to go for a head coach going forward. We've got a
Yeah.
young guy in Brian Hartline. We've got an older head in Matt Patricia. We've got future stars on the DC side in terms of Matty G, OG Walt's been a DC before. I mean, James Laurinaitis is a potential DC. What I'm saying? We've got so many different paths in terms of going forward. And I look at these other schools and it's just not there. And yeah, man, we really are blessed to be in the spot that we're sitting in for sure.
Definitely. And that reminds me, again, thank God Ryan Day and his team got off the mat and had that epic run that they did, because things could have got dicey. With that said, I watched part 1 and part 2, Nevada, of the Redemption documentary on Prime. I think it's on Wonder. It's like a partnership with Prime called Wonder Point or something like that. I did like a free trial to watch it on Prime. Anyway, phenomenal documentary. Highly recommend. There's 3 parts. I watched the first 2 last night. I'm gonna watch part 3 tonight. But it just gives you more insight into that whole thing. G. Scott's story, just everything. Great interviews. So make sure y'all watch that, because again, it really goes into detail of where we could have been. That could have went either way. And them boys, epic. Like redemption is a great word to describe it, Nevada. But yeah, great documentary so far.
Well, I want to. I'm. Don't tell me how part 3 turns out, because I want to know if we win or not. You know what I'm saying? Like that. So like, I don't spoil it for me. You know what I'm saying? But no, I haven't had a chance to watch it. But I've seen the reviews and I've talked to people that have, and they've all saying the same thing. They're saying, "Wow, what a it." When you think about a documentary like that, you think it's all about the football, and this is the furthest thing from being just a completely football story. It's a completely different story that was kind of going on with that team, and the fact that they kind of leaned into their faith at the hardest possible time, and yeah, it really is it's really an amazing story. It just makes you proud to be a Buckeye. It's proud that that's what we stand for, and that's the kind of kids that we're getting, and that's what this program's about. When you see all these other programs about cheating or about just kids just going for the
Right.
bag, or just terrible academics, or all the Portman issues that they're having out in Georgia with 57 car related violations, and I mean just all the stuff, and you're like, man, and these are the kind of kids we're getting in Ohio State, and it just shows you we're different. I mean,
Yeah.
it's different. You may like it or not like, but you have to acknowledge the fact that it's a very different kind of program, and it's not for everybody. And that's why Ohio State can be selective, and a lot of times the kids select themselves, because it's not the place for everybody, but for the special ones, it's a great place to be.
I agree. And we ought to be proud. And again, the documentary just reinforces that. It just reinforces how proud we should be as Buckeyes with these young men that's in this program. It's incredible. And so, yeah, I haven't seen part 3 yet. Hopefully we win, but I got a good feeling about it, Nevada. But speaking of that, we actually got some super chats coming in that are really good. It's funny, Will the Thrill. It's funny that you super chatted this, because I was going to bring this up to you, Nevada, and ask you about this. There's been different debates and different chats about this. And so to me, I figured let's go ahead and jump into it, and then we can have a discussion about it, because I don't want to talk about it and then circle back again with Will the Thrill. So I'll just get into it. Let's get into super chats. Will the Thrill, thanks for the $4.99. A betting strategy app I belong to has the look-ahead line for the game at OSU minus 5.5. Seems a little low to me, but must be based on recency. So Nevada, I was talking to a few different chats. I heard some people say 12 and a half. They were trying to guess on what it would be. 12 and a half, 11, minus 9, 10. Now that's the lowest I've heard. That's kind of hard to believe. So let me ask you. Now, Haynes hurt. Your boy Marshall is dinged up. You are the guru with this. What do you think the week of the game the spread will be, in your opinion?
I think it'll be 8 to 9.
8 to 9.
But if you get 5.5, I guarantee you that'll get crushed. I mean, the Ohio State bettors will push that through. It'll go. It'll definitely go. Anything above 7.5 is kind of noise until you get to 10. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's kind of like, but 7.5 is a key spot, but it would never be 5.5. It's way too low.
Yeah, it seems low.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be 8 to 9, and I think there'll be good two-way action there. Some people just betting on the fact that Michigan's won this game. That it's a road game for Ohio State, et cetera, et cetera. But the sharps really like Ohio State. They like Ohio State because Ohio State's a covering machine. Ohio
Yeah.
State's covered, I think, 13 of the last 14 games,
Yeah.
and really, really exceeding expectations. And I think short of just something cataclysmic happening, it would take a series of unfortunate events for this game to even be close. And I don't think the game will be particularly close, to be honest with you. But we got to get it done. We got to get through Rutgers. We got to get as healthy as we can be. After this game, because you never know what can happen in a football game against Rutgers. You don't want to have
Right.
some guy slipping in warm ups or whatever it is in terms of doing it. And then you just go up to Michigan and let it do it. But I'd say I say if I was a betting man, I am a betting man. I'd say 8.5 to 9.
Okay. That makes more sense because I'm like 5.5. What? But then I was thinking, are they afraid of that the injury rumors of them not being, and that's another thing is that they're still, and listen, I'm not gonna just come down on y'all. I'm not like, man, you idiots. No, I get it. There's concern. There's still concern about Tate and Jeremiah Smith. We told y'all yesterday that they're fine. It's nothing serious. But I was just wondering, trying to justify that low line. But then also, I was going to ask you, what was the flip side to that with the spread? Um, Dang it, I kind of lost my thought on what would contribute to the spread the week of. Okay, no, the other thing I was going to say, Nevada, you mentioned, it would take a series of events. I can hear people out there saying, well, what happened last year? So to me, it's just like last year was, how would you describe the improbability of last year, Nevada? I know you didn't go back and watch the game like I did, but you were there, and then you saw it, you remember it, and it wasn't just one thing. It was several different things that was just crazy that contributed to that loss. What's the improbability to you of something like that happening again for Ohio State to lose to this team?
Well, I think I mean, it's highly improbable, and mainly because of our strength at quarterback. And I'm not just saying Julian, but I'm saying including Lincoln, because last year when we went past
Oh,
Will
good
Howard, it
point.
got pretty bleak. You know what
That's
I'm
a good
saying?
point. Yeah.
If heaven forbid now if something happened to Julian, Lincoln can move the team. He can move the team in different ways, but you saw that arm, man. He can make the throws. He can
Yes.
do different things with there. And so that's not to say that things can't happen, because it's anytime you're in a sport with a ball that's oblong with points on the end of it, weird stuff can happen. But man, it would take a lot. It would take an awful lot. And our strengths, the best thing that I've talk to the smartest gambler that I know that's going out looking at it, he's like, the biggest team weakness for Michigan really is stopping the pass, and the biggest team strength for Ohio State is an offensive line that's really good defending, pass protection,
Yeah.
Julian Sane, and then JJ and Carnell. So it's like it's a bad matchup for Michigan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because a good matchup for Michigan would be another team that would try to grind it out against them, and a close game, and they could hang in there and stuff like that. This is going to be, Ryan's going to try to turn this into a track meet. He's got to that, and they've been showing glimpses with going fast. I am telling you now, they're going to go fast against Michigan. They're going to try to. In other games, they're trying to go as slow as possible to try to reduce the number of plays. Against Michigan, they're going to try to go as fast as possible and have as many offensive plays, because they have a like 0.1% advantage per play. So every play that they run in it over the thing, they pick up 0.1 points in the game. So you run 14 more plays, that's 2 more points just right off the bat in terms of doing it, just on offensive efficiency. So I think Ryan's going to be putting the pedal to the metal that day, and I think that's why we speedboat those guys.
Yeah, and I'll say this, Nevada, and this may sound crazy, but I feel like Ryan Day trusts Sayan even more than Howard throwing the ball. Is that crazy? With Howard having so much experience, I just feel like he trusts Sayan to go up to Ann Arbor and slice them up with the pass more.
Well, it's crazy when you look at it from the standpoint of Will Howard being a fifth year, senior, and,
Right.
and Julian being a redshirt freshman. It's not crazy when you look at how Julian might be the most accurate thrower in the history of college football. I mean, he may finish this year, and forget subjectivity. I always hate subjective discussions because who's better. That's. But I mean, accuracy you can measure. It's called pass completed, and
Right.
and he's
Right.
and it's not close. He's so far ahead of second place. So I think he could leave as the most accurate passer to ever play. And for Ryan Day, that's I mean that's exactly what he's looking for, is a guy who can deliver the ball not only accurately but on time. And then when you've got just Marmaduke number one and Marmaduke number two at your wide receiver, and then Max Clare and Brandon Innes. I mean, just go on down the list. I think it's that's going to be a real problem for Michigan.
Yeah, and I see the chat, man. I see the nervousness. My stomach is nervous about next week. Let's just win it first. Shut up about this game. We lost the last 4 years. Listen, y'all. Listen. I'm not mad at y'all. I get it. We beat them 20 straight years. All right. Last year was a complete debacle, unexplainable, ridiculous outcome. The 3 years before that, we know what happened. Even with that happening, we haven't tasted the victory because it was taken from us, with the aid of cheating those 3 years prior. The point is we haven't tasted victory. So I get it. I understand the angst. Listen, I'm always going to be nervous for that game. Always. The years that we won and beat them, I was still nervous. So I get it. I understand it. Buckeye Tater 7540, unbelievable. Yes, it was, bro. I was there in the stadium. I was there. And it was awful. And it was perplexing. So listen, I'm not mad at y'all for that. But with me, like, I understand the nervousness and what comes with this game. And I'm trying to really pair that with just, I guess, the logical thinking of it. And I said this yesterday, Nevada. Remember, I said, excuse me, I said last year's game is going to be the gift that keeps on giving. Going back to the Redemption documentary, it just really, I don't know if y'all believe in fate and believe in, I don't know what y'all believe in as far as how things come together. I'm not saying I'm glad we lost to Michigan last year, because I'm not. But what happened after that was so powerful and program changing and Ryan Day changing, that it's like, okay, it is what it is. What happened. But now going forward, I feel like we on a heater, and it's just not going to happen again. Basically, this is what I'm saying, and I hope y'all understand this. I'm trying to talk to y'all, family. What I'm trying to say is, to lose, in my opinion, my informed opinion, losing to them this year, even at their place, will have to be similar to the debacle of last year. Because watching this Michigan team, they're not a great team. They're okay. Even now with what they've lost, how are they going to move the ball against our defense? Defense travels. Ryan Day, I know some of y'all are still concerned he's going to do whatever y'all think he did last year in this game. I'm telling you, he's not. I'm telling you, we're going to go win this game. And so my confidence is in all those things. And like I said, I just want to sympathize with you. I get it. You're nervous. I'm going to be nervous because I've always been nervous about this game, even though I feel confident that we'll win. I'm just trying to let y'all know, man, like, we got this. Last year is not this year, And last year was a major contributing factor to what we're experiencing now. And so don't melt that together. I know. I'm just trying to tell y'all, Nevada. Am I making sense in what I'm trying to convey?
Well, I'm going to be, we always pride ourselves on being honest on the show. This is my honest feeling on the show. I believe Ryan Day is a completely different guy than he was this time last year. Completely
Yeah.
different guy.
Yeah.
Couldn't be more different. People that are close to him say that. Players say that. Agents say that. Families say that. People that know him, people on staff talk about the differences in Ryan Day. So that's one. Okay. Secondly, as a fan, you always have to look in terms of say, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen? I mean, if we lose the game, we're still in the playoff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, nobody wants to hear that, though, Nevada.
But it's
I
but, but
get you,
it's
but
but it's the
it's the truth.
truth.
It's the truth. It's the
It's
truth.
the I know
Which
sometimes
is
people don't.
crazy.
Yeah, I
Which
know
is crazy.
sometimes people don't want to hear the truth, but I mean, you
Yeah.
have to look at it and kind of go, oh man, if we lose, what's gonna, and for 50 years, I was raised to, if we lose that game, then it was the longest winter
Yep.
ever, and it
Yep.
was just horrible, and it was 9 months of just moping around and kicking the dog and just just terrible, terrible, terrible. And that's not it. It's changed. It's changed. So if we lose, if the unthinkable happens and we lose for the fifth straight year, we'll be the number 4 seed. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, like, so it does. I mean, I know people don't want to hear that, but sometimes you have to understand that's the truth. That's not spin. That's not opinion. That's not Nevada Bucks crazy hot take. That's just facts. That's what would happen. So, guys, when even the worst, when the unthinkable is not such a horrible outcome for you, we avoid the Big Ten championship game or the number 4 seed and the thing, you know, uh, it should take the pressure. As a fan, that should completely take the pressure. Of course, I want to win the game. I want to win the game because I always want to win because I hate Michigan more than anything, and I don't want to
Yeah.
ever see those fans happy for 1 second. That's the reasons
Yes.
why I want to win. But in terms of
Correct.
the big picture, I'm not sure how much it changes whether we win or lose that game. I'm just not.
No, that's spot on. You're right. I mean, if you can compartmentalize it like you just
Yeah,
did,
yeah.
yes. Like, because yeah, of course, that's the only listen, living here in Ohio, and for those Buckeye fans out there who aren't from here, we have an inordinate amount of hometown scum fans. It sickens me. Like, okay, it's one thing if you moved here from Michigan or something. No, born and raised in Ohio, rooting for that team up north. And most of them, if not all of them, did it to defy the locals, to troll, just to troll. And so I don't respect that. I'm sorry, I don't respect your fandom, sir, ma'am. You annoy me. So I want to see them lose. But you're correct. In today's world, it is what it is. A loss to them, which is not going to happen. We're going to beat them this year. It's not going to matter in the pursuit of the highest goal, which is the championship. And I think that's the biggest thing that people are having trouble wrapping their minds around, because we just been all our lives we've known that, but things have changed. But with that said, we going up to the big blouse and beating them this year. So there it is. And one last thing before we go to this next couple of super chats. Yes, Biaka Batuka, Nevada. That was next to the game that we saw last season. That was the most confounding Michigan loss I can remember, was that game. Did not see it coming. The studs we had on that defense all of a sudden could not tackle. I mean, that was like somebody put a spell on our team. It was just crazy. We got that dude drafted, and he was not even that good. Tim Biaka Batuka, that was the craziest thing, bro. Nevada, I know you remember that game.
Well, yeah, but it's funny how we have post-traumatic stress disorder about those, but think about all the games where we won. You know what I'm saying? They went,
A lot of
a
games.
lot of games, man. There's so many games where
Yeah.
Ryan Day's first game as a coach, he goes up there and just
Yes.
violates them up there in 2019. So, I mean, look, we all, fall prey to primacy and recency in our most, our first memories or our latest memories and things like that. But the bottom line is every year's a new year. Last year doesn't really have any regard, this year in terms of the relevance of the object, because all the players are different. All the 14 guys from our team at the NFL. I mean, it's a completely different squad of Buckeyes, and we have advantages at nearly every single position on the field. And we've got a coach that's at the absolute top of his game and that knows how to push the buttons and will learn from his mistakes. I mean, smart people learn from them. They make the mistakes. Smart people, it's not that smart people don't make mistakes, but they learn from them. That's what
Yeah.
smart people do. Smart people fail all the time, dude. And some of the smartest people I know have had businesses that have been spectacular failures, but you know what? They learn.
Yeah.
Dumb people don't learn. Dumb people
Good.
keep making the same mistakes over and over again. Smart people fail spectacularly, but they learn. And then they pick themselves up, they dust themselves off, and they keep on going down the thing. And that's what Ryan Day's. He's a smart person who failed, but he ain't gonna fail again.
Especially after what he did after that immediately. And real quick before we transition, Buckeye Tater, I see your comment. This is your favorite show. Listen, first of all, we appreciate you, but want to make it clear when I mention your name, wasn't throwing off on you. That wasn't a jab. I hope I didn't come off aggressive or anything like that. But we rock with you. We appreciate you, and just wanted to address you and others because I felt y'all. I understood where you were coming from, so I wanted to speak to that. And then also, before we get to the next super chat, for those who keep saying, "Well, you predicted last year in the last 3 years," everybody predicted outside of Ann Arbor, Ohio State to beat Michigan. What are y'all talking about? Like, was that supposed to be a gotcha? Everybody picked Ohio State, especially last year. It is what it is. But again, we've already given you the logic behind, hey, the 3 years before that, obviously, we read the report, they cheated. Last year, I believe he was traumatized by the cheating and really just it was just in his head. And when things unraveled, interception, injury, missed field goal, it's just tighter and tighter and tighter, and it's in your head. And we end up losing the game, being dumb. And so now it's a different year. We won a natty, went on an epic title run. Like Nevada said, from Brandon Ennis to coaches, the people in the program we talked to, from what we see, he's a different dude. And I think he's going to put the cherry on top of that different dude status in Ann Arbor in a couple of weeks. And so that's just how we feel about it. Like it, love it, hate it, whatever. Don't matter. All right. David Penteric, what's up, brother? Scoop Ultra member. Good dude, David. Thanks for the 1999. This was said yesterday. This OSU team is special. I agree. But what makes it so? Defense, offense, both? Coaching, consistency, star power? That's a lot of stuff to pick from. Nevada, what you got on that?
Well, I think I think it's a combination of you've got a team that I would make an argument that we have the four best players in all of college football are all on the same team. So, you start with star power, and then you've got to. I think coaching coaching matters. Coaching is almost determinative of success at the college football level. Great coaches like Urban Meyer can go to Bowling Green and win, and then go to Utah and win, and then go to Florida and win, and then come to Ohio
Yeah.
State and win. Man, like coaches and coaching staffs matter. And I think Ryan Day is the best coach in all of college football right now. And I think he's got Matt Patricia, who I think is the best defensive coordinator in all of college football right now. So when you combine the best coaches with the best star talent, and then forget the star power. I just think the talent level on this roster, I think it's the most talented roster in Ohio State history. So I think it's a combination of star power, overall talent up and down the line, and then just superior coaching staff. And clearly coming off a national championship, there's a belief that we're elite and that we should win every game. There's no nagging doubts
Yeah.
in anybody's mind about, well, we're good, but wait till we play the SEC. Remember, that was the bugaboo for a lot of
Oh,
years.
yeah. Yeah.
And now it's just kind of like we just knocked out every team in the SEC. So like there's no insecurities that this team has about any team that they would play anywhere, anytime, any type of game. So I think that's why this team is special, at least to me. But would love to hear your opinion.
I mean, that's a great breakdown. I mean, to not be repetitive, I'm just going to say culture. And I think all of what you said goes hand in hand with that. Is Ryan Day being adamant about maintaining the culture? So that comes with hiring, who you hire, the players you bring in, like all of that. Like to have a great leader at the top to make sure, hey, here's the vision. This is what's going to make this program successful and sustainable. And whatever comes in is going to have to line up with that. And again, with Matt Patricia, he even said it in an interview. Matt Patricia got Super Bowl rings. He could come in with his agent like, yo, I'm dictating this. But he humbled himself under the lead of Ryan Day, the respect he had for Ryan Day and the leadership to say, okay, I'm going to come in. I'm not going to bring my guys. I'm going to come in here and come alongside what's already been working with OG Walt and Matt G and his defensive staff. And so again, that's a culture thing to be able to have the respect, the leadership, and the vision to, and also Matty P was not on anybody's radar. You see what I'm saying, y'all? Like this takes great, excellent leadership and principled standards to say, no, we're not going to pay you this. We don't value this for you, ex-recruit. We're going to take this guy and we're going to develop him into a first rounder. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, yeah, I agree with everything you said, but I think culture is the partnership with all of that as well. Great question, David. We appreciate you, brother. All right, real quick. So this is my uncle Guy. He said he watches the show. I was like, man, I don't know if you don't leave a comment. What's up, Unc? What's up, Unc? I love you, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for watching. You never know who's watching, if nobody comments. So I appreciate it, man. Wanted to give a real quick shout out to the Unc. All right, what we got next here? Will the Thrill. So thanks for the $4.99. He followed up earlier, Nevada, when we were talking about the spread. And he said 8 or 9, something quirky is exactly what I was thinking, Nevada. So, yeah, I think that's a safe bet. Like -9 probably 2 days before the game or something, right, Nevada?
I mean, that's what I'm thinking. There's no way it's going to be under 7.5. I'm just telling you right now. No
Yeah, that
chance,
wouldn't
no
make
way.
any sense.
No,
Yeah.
that doesn't make any sense. And the way Ohio State's just kind of clapping teams, and Michigan's just barely slipping by teams, and
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing is really history is the 4-game winning streak by Michigan, and people can point to that and say, yeah, but when 3 of the 4 years they were in the midst of the biggest cheating scandal in college football history, I definitely think it definitely skewed the results.
Yeah.
And last year, I totally agree. I think it got in Ryan's head. I think the 3 years of cheating, you know, caused him to, come up with a game plan that I don't think he would. I know he's not going to repeat this year. So we'll see.
Yep. Because he's a smart guy. All
Very
right.
smart guy.
Okay. Pella Galerius. Thanks for the 5. B. Moses and Nevada Buck, my top 3 running backs all time at Ohio State. J.K. Dobbins, number 3. Zeke, number 2. Maurice Claret, number 1. Who you got? Good list. Who you got, Nevada? Or you want me to go first?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, just these are so hard
Yeah.
because I mean, for me, it's hard to go. I mean, how can you pick against Archie Griffin, the only 2-time Heisman winner?
Yeah.
As what I'm saying. I mean, Archie Griffin's got to be there, and then Eddie George. Eddie George was just, he was a horse. I
Yeah.
I think strictly because Maurice Claret was limited to 1 year, and frankly not even a full year because he was hurt for a good good number of games in that thing. I'd probably go Archie, Eddie, and then Zeke third.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I love Claret, but man, was his career cut short. I mean, of course, the antics of how he was back then. I mean, he's a different dude now, thankfully, but trying to go to the NFL, I mean, just all that stuff. I mean, imagine what he would have been in his sophomore year. He had elite vision as a freshman. Um, he wasn't speedy, but he knew how to outrun an angle. He was physical, but he was dinged up with those stingers a lot. But yeah, Eddie George is the first one that came to my mind. So Eddie's on my list. Now here's the difference, Nevada. You got your fans' top three favorite, and then you got your top three. So to me, those are kind of different, but I'll just kind of blend them. I'm gonna say Eddie, Zeke, and then for my third, I mean, I guess I'll go with Archie. I'll go with Archie as well, because I can't really justify. You should have said Mount Rushmore and let me throw one more in there. But Dobbins is a underrated all-time Ohio State back. I don't think he gets mentioned enough for what he did. Rushing for 2001 season, his freshman year he had. And of course, there's other backs that we can point to that have been really good. You got your Keith Byers, and I mean, there's so many backs. But I think that's a cool list. So yeah. All right. Mike Green, thanks for the 499. Fellas, continuing to play these backups is genius for recruiting. This load management caused a flip-a-palooza. Dang, Ryan Day got this program humming. Yeah, man. It's just so many things to be grateful for and appreciative of. And so hold on to your butts because we're sliding into another run, another stretch run, and it's going to be so fun, man. And I believe it starts with in Ann Arbor getting that dub, Nevada.
Well, first of all, I want to meet Mike Green at some point in time because Mike Green is one of the smartest guys on this thing. And he always the questions he asks, I'm always like, man, that's really good question, observation, whatever it is. So Mike, kudos to you on that. But no, I completely agree. And it's funny when B Moses and I were talking about the flips incoming and how we thought that would impact the 2026 class. I was thinking 4 or 5, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't thinking 11, you know what I mean? And we're not done. So I mean, by the time this thing's done, we might have 14 or 15 flips. So yeah, it's absolutely flip-a-palooza. And playing guys, there's nothing that kids love more than when you're playing freshmen and playing younger guys and getting them out there for the recruits, because the recruits get excited about that. They see a path to the field because none of these kids want to go and sit. They all want to play. They all want to have a chance to play. And if Ryan had, one of his Achilles heels, in previous years, it was he stayed with the starters too long. I'm not sure what that was about, but I didn't feel like he went to the backups nearly enough. And now he's got the benefit of, he's blessed with a loaded team, a pretty soft schedule, and the opportunity like this game coming up here against Rutgers. That's gonna be another game where a lot of guys are gonna play. And I agree with you. I think it's great. I think it's great for the program. I think it's great for recruits. And I think we're definitely seeing the benefit of that with the flip-a-palooza that's going on right now.
Flip-a-palooza. I love it. Yeah, man. Great stuff. And Mike Green, always great stuff per usual. Appreciate you and everyone who leaves these great comments and super chats. All right, so here we go. Pelagalerius again. Thanks for the 5. J.K. Dobbins, all-time leading rusher. Ezekiel Elliott, the playoff run. Big Ten run. Craig Krenzel enters INT. Maurice Clarett chased down Sean Taylor. Yeah, I mean, a lot of great moments, man. And it's still to this day, it's crazy that Craig Krenzel was a leading rusher in the national championship game. Oh, man, that game was crazy. I remember, I told you I was in Roosters off of East Broad Street in Columbus with a packed house, and we went nuts. That game was crazy. But anyway, yeah, lots of great all-time plays to refer to, man. You just put some heat in this chat, brother. What you got, Nevada?
Well, yeah, I remember I was at the national championship game, the Krenzel game, and obviously the play when Krenzel threw the interception and Maurice pulled it, like you understand when you were there, we had no idea what the heck just happened. You know what I'm saying? Because like that happened, you're like, what in the world? How do we get the ball back? And so that was bizarre. But the most bizarre was really the play when the guy called threw the flag on the delayed pass interference call. I mean, the right call, but it was a little late. Like literally, like for a split second, I thought the game was over. I thought we lost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like they shot off the fireworks. they threw their
helmets in the
helmets
air.
up in the air,
Yeah.
the whole thing. And I think they said that Sean Taylor couldn't go on the field the next play because his helmet was off because the head thing blew off of it and stuff like that. So he couldn't be on the play for the next. And so like it was just great, but that moment is just frozen in time for me because you're sitting there going, "Oh my God, we just lost," and
Right.
then and it seemed like it hung forever, like
Yeah.
forever. And then it's like, wait a second, there's a flag. There's a flag. We got it. So I mean, what a range of emotions. It's funny, my wife's dad was watching the game, and when that play happened and they stopped us, he turned the TV off. And
What?
he thought the game was over. He thought because he didn't want to see Miami celebrating, turn the game off.
Yeah, that's
So
tough. Oh boy.
we called him later afterwards at the game. You know, it's like late midnight or whatever it is. And we're like, oh my God, yeah, we won. And he's like, what do you mean? You guys lost? We're like, did you didn't turn off the TV? And you go, yeah, I turned off the TV. But that actually happened. He turned it off and missed the entire second overtime.
That is an incredible story.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
happened.
that is crazy. And yeah, real quick, first of all, we broke Miami. The Miami Hurricanes is my nickname for them. We broke them, and they still cry today. That was absolutely the right call. Two things. Some guy on YouTube years ago did a great job of posting like a breakdown. He showed the ref Nevada. He was they signaled holding and pass interference. I don't know if anybody knows this. They signaled holding and PI. Okay. So it was the right call. It was delayed. I guess there was I don't know, but the point is he was held. And anyway, there was another. I might have to find that video. I might repost that because it was some heat. Either way, we won, national champs, and we moving on.
Well, the funny thing is, if there was replay in that game, the game would have never got to overtime because we were inbounds. Where Gamble, I think it was either Gamble or Jenkins.
It was Gamble.
It was Gamble had a catch and it was inbounds, and the game would have the game would have been over. So we missed a lot of drama, but hey, you can only play with what you have at the time. But yeah, national champs.
Yeah, and then there was another screenshot of his jersey being pulled and he was being held. I mean, I'm like, y'all crying about this, and y'all got away with two huge calls that would have been game over. So anyway, Miami fans. All right, here we go. Unc. That's Unc. He became a Scoop Ultra member, Nevada. Look at that.
Oh, there you go.
Let's go. Appreciate you, Unc. That's great stuff, man. Good looking. All right. Mike Green, once again, for the 199. He said, teams fighting for their lives, and we're practicing.
That's true.
That's why they're hating so much. That's why they're like, you didn't clean another cupcake. It's true. Right. That's why they're just sitting there at the TV seething like, you're beating up on this cupcake. Yeah, and you're going to be the cupcake soon. Just whatever. Like, it's what it is. Okay? Stop hating. All right? What we got next? We got Carus Washington, Scoop Ultra member for 24 months. Appreciate you. We got the team up north, not nervous. Yeah. Hey, listen, whether you're nervous, you're not nervous, my confidence in this year, not being the last year, not being the year before, this is 2025. And again, we've broken down to you our thinking behind this. This is not just, you said we're going to win last year. Okay, well, last year was different. Things have happened since last year. Things have changed. And so we've broken that down. My confidence, I'm very confident we're going to go up there and beat them boys this year. And that's just it. And that's just my story. I'm sticking to it, Nevada.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, subsequent events, man. Ryan Day's a different cat. We're going to all see that in a couple of weeks, and we'll see.
We shall see. And listen, chat, we appreciate y'all, everybody who made comments and all that other stuff. Listen, man, this is what makes this show great. Super chats, the chats, all of y'all, the ones who show up every night. This is why this show is so dope, man. And so we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. And we're going to see y'all tomorrow. Actually, hold on. Somebody just slid in a super chat. Gio Dit, another goated Buckeye scooper. Thanks for the 5. They hate us because they can't be us. Ohio against the world. That is 1,000% facts. And there's so many things to point to prove that. And so these boys going to go out there and just really just show and prove again this year, man. This team, I believe they want this. They're hungry. I don't think they're complacent. I don't think they're full of themselves, Nevada. And I think they're going to go out there and show and prove.
Yeah, well, they're definitely look. It's definitely not an overconfident bunch, but it's a confident bunch, and
Yeah.
that's what you want. You want that quiet confidence, and you want that resolve from your top players. And JJ Smith has come out and said we ain't going to lose this game. And you know what? I'm not going to. I don't think JJ's a liar.
Yep.
I don't think he's a
You got it.
liar.
You got it,
Yeah,
bro. Like I'm not going to question that young man for
yeah.
sure. So I have a lot of confidence in this team, not just the talent, but the leadership and the culture, and especially coming off of last year and what happened and the lesson learned from that, from the top to the bottom. So that's where my confidence lies. Again, appreciate y'all. We're going to go ahead and bang out. We will see y'all tomorrow, and go Bucks. Peace.